Anybody can respond. Okay, fine. So we'll start now. In the meantime, the others will join. We have covered one major portion of the subject work system design that was related with the method study. Apart from that, we also covered our productivity related section, and we have taken, I think, so far 16 lectures so far. And now we'll be starting our new topic that is related with the work measurement. So here in this today's lecture, I'll be talking about the need, importance, purposes, techniques, and how it is done. So the basic steps related with the work measurement. Like the topic is work measurement. So this is one of the part of the work system design. Another technique of the technique of the work system design is the method study. So both of these constitutes primarily the work system design or work study. Okay, so in work study, what you have seen, we talked primarily about the method improvement related things. And improvements were primarily brought by reducing the wastage of the efforts which are taking place here and there, in form of unnecessary extra movements or unnecessary delays or storages, unnecessary inspections. So anything which is redundant and not good, or wherever the wastage of the efforts and resources is taking place, so wherever wastage of these resources is taking place, the efforts are made to cut down those wastages, so that by using the improved method. On the other hand, the work study primarily involves investigation or investigating the time related with the job. But when this time is investigated, we find that there are so many things which should not have been there. So we are specifically able to quantify in terms of the time being consumed in ineffective activities, the time being consumed, the quantity of the time which is being wasted in ineffective activities and the effective activities. So in terms of the time, we are able to know through the work measurement, like how much time is being wasted in ineffective activities or effective activities, not just the type of productive or non-productive activity, but the quantity of the or the amount of the time which is being wasted. So this is the main thing. But as I have talked earlier, when we were talking about the work study and the introduction to the method study and work measurement, both actually for any improvement, both these techniques are complementary to each other. Means it's not necessary like, okay, from the method study you have developed some method, now you are in process of setting the time standard. So for setting the time standard, work measurement is being done. Okay, because time has to be set for the new method which has been improved by the method study. And then while doing the work measurement, you find there is still some ineffective time. So that, and what is its the in percentage, or what is the magnitude of the time in minutes, so that is identified. So if it happens, then again you have to go back to the method study. So if the method study is giving fresh improved method without any ineffective time, it will be used, work measurement will be used to set the time standard for a job, for the job which is being considered, or it can also be used to set the standard of output. Like in unit time, there will be 10 units which will be should be produced, or 50 units, depending upon the kind of the man, machine, material, or the procedure which is being adopted. So the main objective of the work measurement is to set the standard time or time standard for the job, but this is done when the method is perfect and which has been developed through the method study. If say method study has not been done for long, or you don't know where to apply method study, there can be various possibilities. There in a shop floor there can be tens of the things which are being done, so where from the method study should be done. So if you have got an improved method, then certainly work measurement can directly be used to set the standard time and set the standard of output. But if the method study has not been done for long, and so many problems are there in a shop floor, you don't know where from to start with. So how to identify the area, or how to prioritize the area for the method study? So in that situation where there can be many potential candidates or potential areas or cases for the method study, there we try to conduct the work measurement first. So when the work measurement is conducted in the operation, in the job 1, job 2, job 3, we are able to identify the percentage of ineffective time in the different jobs. So wherever the percentage of the ineffective time is more, obviously that will be focused first for the method study, so that the job can be improved and the wastage of the resources can be reduced. So if we don't know where from the method studies where method study is to be done, then in that case first the work measurement is started, or work measurement is done, which will be giving us the ineffective time, or the percentage of the ineffective time associated with the job or particular job which is being studied. And based on that we can take a decision on which type of the job is to be taken up for the method study. So there are both possibilities, like method study and work measurement. Both can be done first or second, depending upon the situation. If the method is perfect, after that work study will be done. Work measurement will be done, and if method study has not been done, then first work measurement will be done. Okay, so that's why we say that these two techniques complement to each other. Okay, so then so this is how we say, and then how to understand this, how to define the work measurement. So basically it is work measurement is a word, common word for a group of techniques which are applied or used to establish. These are used to establish the time for a qualified worker to do a job at defined level of performance. So there are few things which are new to you and which will be elaborated and discussed little later. So here the idea is to establish the time, one, for a qualified worker to do a job or to do a specific job at a defined level of performance. So the worker is qualified and the performance is seen at a specific level of performance, at a given level of performance. So these two words are primarily related with the time study method of work measurement. So these will be elaborated little later when we will talk about that method. So basically in the work measurement we focus on establishing the time for doing a specific job by a qualified worker at a defined level of performance. Okay, So we can say uh, the work is measured. The quantity of the work involved in a job is measured in terms of the time. Okay. As I said, so work measurement quantifies basically the work content in a job, and that too in terms of the time required to do the same thing. So basically we can say the work measurement provides the time for an operation or series of operations, which are series of operations needed to complete a job. So so they will be providing either for single operation or the number of things which are to be done to complete the job. And when it is done, we are able to see with the clarity what is the time being consumed for ineffective activities and the time being consumed for the effective activities. So until the work measurement is done, you see, if we are not doing the work measurement, then we don't know. Everything is a part of total time, you know. So total time, if you see here, you have seen that the basic work plus added work plus ineffective time, these were the three components, right? So we are quantifying these two in any case, but at the same time your ineffective time is also being quantified. And if we don't do the work measurement, then everything is within this total time. And this total time, basically this total time is hiding everything. All weaknesses, all ineffective times are covered under this total time. So work, until the work measurement is done, we cannot say really how much proportion of the ineffective time or the total time. So but once it is done, you see, otherwise what will happen, you see, if even if there is a first, what will happen when if the work measurement is not done, people will say there is no effective time. You see how the people will behave in a shop floor where work measurement has not been applied. So they will say, no, this is the total time which will be required to do this job, and there is no ineffective time in our shop floor. So this is complete denial. There is no ineffective time. People will completely deny. Okay, and even if they say, okay, nothing can be done, even if they say it may be there, so but nothing can be done to eliminate, or they accept it as usual practice, something which cannot be eliminated, nothing can be done to eliminate this kind of thing. So but when the work measurement is done, each and everything will be highlighted, you know. So once the things have been highlighted and they have crept up at the surface, efforts can be taken now. Now the efforts will be done, efforts will be made to reduce or to eliminate such ineffective time after the work measurement. Else people say we don't have any effective time, or nothing can be done to deal with these things, or it is accepted practice. Okay, let's find even if it is there. So and this is the situation when we are not doing any work measurements. So obviously work measurement is needed and important to at least eliminate those ineffective things in terms of, and this is highlighted, you see, it is not just the kind of activity which is ineffective, it is the kind of investment of the time which is being made and that is not needed. Okay, so once it is there, once means that time is there, or we can say time, whether it is effective time or plus ineffective time, we get the total. So efforts will be made to this reduce the ineffective time through the method study, so that we are left with the primarily ineffective time. Once we have ineffective time, then certainly some allowances will be added. In ineffective time, or the time is needed to do a particular job by a qualified worker at a given level of performance, that time will be added with allowances. These allowances are like some time is needed for relaxation. You see, as per like after every 4 hours some time has to be given. It is like 5% of the total work duration. Then those heavy jobs, the fatigue allowance is given. If there is a new person coming in a job, or the job has been changed, then there can be learning allowance. Okay, and there can be many other allowances. There is one which is very common, is a personal need allowance. Okay, so the different allowances, this and how it is obtained, whatever is the time identified through the study plus percentage of that time, maybe 5%, 10% in terms of the allowances. So there are different percentages related with the different types of the allowances, and those are identified by the management through the negotiations through the worker representatives. So the time identified through the work study plus allowances, these two are added to get the standard time, or to identify the standard of output. Okay, so let's say an example, 20 minutes is the time which is coming out as a standard time, and out of 480 hours, say out of 480 minutes in like 60 into 8 hours per day or per shift, this is the time. And if say 40 minutes is going for the authorized break, then remaining is 440. So 440 divided by the standard time, this will give us the output, number of units that will be produced from this work. So say it is coming out 22. Now those workers producing more than 22 can be given incentives or other benefits. Those who are producing less than this, they can be encouraged, they can be motivated, they can be put in training, something like this, so that their output can also be brought to the level, else there will be cutting down on their wages like that. So this is how it is used, and so basically we get the time is added with the allowances, and then allowances and time that gives us the standard time for a given job. Okay, now once we have the standard time for completing a job by a worker using a given procedure at a defined level of performance, then what are the various applications and uses. So you can say why to set the standard time, why to set the standard of performance. So these are the various purposes or applications which are realized through the standard time. Okay, so standard time, once we have the standard time for a job, then it can be used in number of ways, and those are really very crucial and very important for successful running of any industry. So one is like to evaluate the performance of workers. Okay, just a minute. Professor, I'm in lecture. I'm in lecture now. Maybe I'll talk to you later. Okay. I, no. There is nothing urgent. It's just about that. I have written already. This is regarding the mail from the Dean's Lake only. Okay. Just to see that if possible, Dean's Lake yesterday had sent one email regarding the RDSO projects. So if you can see, we can discuss at 1:15 or so. Okay. Fine. Okay. Fine. Sorry. So the one thing that can be realized through the standard time is the assessment or evaluation of the performance of the worker. How good worker is performing, that it can be simply done. Whether the worker takes 22 minutes or 18 minutes to complete the job, that will indicate the relative performance of the worker with respect to the standard time or standard output. Okay, so we can, based on the actual time being taken by the worker, with respect to the standard time. So this will give you the kind of performance that is being delivered by the worker. So how close he is close to the how close the worker is with respect to the standard performance or standard time. So he may take, like, say 20 minutes out of 20 minutes, or 22 minutes, or out of 20 minutes. So depending upon, accordingly, see, so he will be rated fast or he will be rated slow accordingly. Okay, so that's one. There are different ways of the rating of the workers. There are different ways and techniques of rating the performance of worker, but this is one where how much time he takes to complete the job with respect to the standard performance. Okay. Another application of the standard time is to plan the workforce needed to achieve the desired output. So like in a factory, there will be machines and there will be workers. Okay, and you know, using the available standard procedure, what is the standard time. So if say as in the earlier case, we had output of one worker, as per the standard output of the one worker was 22, like as per the standard time also output was 22, and if per day output is needed, say 220, then we needed 10 workers. So 22 into 10 will give you the 220. Okay, and if the 220 is the desired output, then we needed 10 workers. And in a factory, if there are just 6 or 8 workers, then those balance 4 or 2 number of workers can be hired. So to plan the workforce needed to achieve the desired output based on the standard time or time required to complete a job, workers manpower planning can be done to hire the workforce to achieve the desired output. Another good one related with this one only is to estimate the capacity of the plant. So like using given setup of the man and machines or materials, what is the kind of the time required for per unit, like say 10 minutes required to produce 1 unit. Okay, and if you have 10 sets and it is the 10, okay, so the 10 minutes means 48 number of units can be produced by one set, and if you have 10 sets of the man machine material for the production purpose, then total daily output can be 480. Okay, so depending upon the kind of the resources available and standard time, the maximum production capacity of the plant or of the organization can be calculated. Okay, so we can estimate the capacity of the plant based on the kind of man machine systems we have and what is the standard time needed for producing a job. Okay, then we have determining the costing. Determine the like say cost of item, or you can say costing of item. So how it is done? You know that here what we consider is basically for production what you need labor or the man, you need material, and you need the overheads, the expenditure on account of the miscellaneous things. So if you just put in the material cost, direct material cost, and then put in the labor cost plus the time being consumed in production of the unit item. So overhead for producing the per unit item in per unit time and the labor cost. So labor cost, say it is 10 minutes, say 20 minutes are being taken, plus the material cost is there, plus the overhead is there. So overhead is directly in terms of the expenditure to be made in per unit time. Okay, so and on the other hand, what is the time being taken for producing something by a worker? So material cost plus labor cost plus overhead related with the production of one item can be used directly to determine the cost of item. So the costing and the pricing of the product based on the time being taken to produce the same, considering the man, material, and the overheads. Okay, that can be done effectively. So standard time can be used in costing basically. So costing is used to determine the labor cost plus overhead cost on account of production of the one item, plus you can add the material cost. Okay, this will be coming from the different source, but certainly the overhead and the labor cost related things can be identified from the standard time. Okay, next is related with the comparing the feasibility of the various methods. Say, so compare the feasibility of different work methods. Okay, so for doing a job during the method study, what you have identified is like this job can be done using three other options. So there are three other alternatives using which the job can be done, and then for these three alternatives you can apply the work measurement and see how much time it takes through any option. Okay, and say it is 12, 10 or 8. So obviously you will be zeroing down on this method if all the resources are available, and then certainly we will be going for the method which takes less time or something which is more economical. Okay, so we can come based on the standard time, we can compare the feasibility of the various options which are available, and so that we can choose the best possible option. Okay, so this is another thing. Then the next point related with this is the planning the wages and incentives. So I have already told you like what is the output of a worker in a day, or with respect to the standard output how much worker is producing. these two can be used as a basis for setting the wages or incentives. Okay, so with respect to the output of a worker, output of the worker with respect to the standard of performance or standard output, incentives can be given, and how much the worker is contributing in terms of the output of number of units, that can be used as a basis for what wages can be given to the worker. Okay, so these are the different applications related with the work measurement. Now we'll see that what happens when the work measurement is applied, and how effectively the results are obtained, and what happens actually to the system as a whole. So say work measurement is applied, okay, and work measurement of production shop showed like a very high capacity costly machine is having the, like say, 30% of the idle time. So this is huge. High capacity costly machine is idle for 30%, idle time percentage is 30, so that is very high. So obviously work study department reported this, and based on this when the production department was approached for the reasons behind this 30% idle time, behind this, they said that the machine is big, batch size is small, and setting time is longer. So because of the small batch size and longer setting time, this is idle for this much of the time. So what we can do, this is the kind of the demand we are getting from the planning department. So what planning department is, whatever plan is there for the production purpose, that is given to the production department, and the production department is producing accordingly. So planning department, and the matter reached it to the planning department, like why are you giving the small batches? You see, why don't you plan and club the orders so that the batch size can be enhanced? Okay, so the planning department is said or responded that we are working based on the requirement coming from the sales department. Okay, the sales department is sales department is giving the demand for production of those small variety of the jobs, small in number and the variety of the jobs. So you see, the people are saying or deflecting the issue from one section to another. So when the sales department approached, why do you go for those small batches and a large variety? So the sales department said that this is our management policy, like cater all needs of customers. So if this is the management policy, then obviously the MD or the management is approached. When the management approached, management said that what we want, that our competitors don't get the job, so we'll cater each and everything whatever is coming in. So just to harm others, to ensure that others don't get the job, we are accepting each and everything. So you see, something which is not something, it was expected that like we'll do all the things whatever is coming in so that our competitors don't get the job. But this approach was harming the company itself because they were just wasting the resources in terms of the costly high capacity machines with the high percentage of the idle time. So the point is, whenever work measurement is done, the idle time is highlighted, its area is highlighted, and when that area is highlighted, obviously the blame game will start, and once at least discussions, when discussions start, something will be done to reduce or eliminate the idle time. So it was the policy, since it was happening due to the policy of the management, so they said that no, now we'll go for the high volume, or at least minimum order quantity has to be there, then only they will be supplying, so that they can go for the larger batch sizes and the fewer settings and the lesser idle time. So that's how. So management had to shift its policy to cut down the idle time related with this particular system. So here the point is, like, work measurement is important because it can have a lot of implications and the effect in the system. Okay, so that is one typical example related with the use of the work measurement. Now we will see what are the steps or the methods and what is there in scope of the work measurement. Okay, so just like earlier in work study, we talked about the general steps of both method study as well as work measurement, but their meaning is different little in work measurement as compared to what we had in method study. Okay, so obviously it will start with the select the job to be studied. This is one. Then second is record. So here recording is completely different than what we did earlier. Huge range of the recording techniques in method study we have seen. Then there is examine. So here examine is also different than what we have seen in method study. And thereafter we have measure. Okay, and after the measure there is compile and then define. Okay, so these are the 6 major steps. So I will elaborate each of these steps here. So depending upon the kind of method which is being applied, these steps will be implemented or effected in different ways. So what we do, which job is to be taken for the work measurement. So just like this earlier method study, the job should affect whatever the job is being considered for the work measurement, it should affect the economy or productivity of the industry. It should be, number one, it should be significant in volume, not just the once or twice in a year, but it should be significant in terms of the volume that is being affected or the kind of consistency at which the job is done. So not just once or twice in a year, but the job is consistent and significant effect in terms of the volume of the production is possible. Okay, so the selection of the job considering the fact its importance for the economy or productivity. The second is significance in terms of the volume or the consistency of the job. So means the job should be repeated in nature, repetitive in nature. Okay, then whatever the job is being done, it should be, you see where you will apply work measurement, there should be some way to quantify the output. No, so the output or the whatever the job is to be quantified, there should be some measurable output. Okay, so okay, if you are not able to quantify the unit output which is therein, then how the study will effectiveness of the study, or how will study that eliminating the ineffective time will change the output. So output has to be measurable, maybe in terms of numbers, maybe in terms of time or volume, whatever it is. That output of the process must be measurable. Okay. So these are the factors which are considered. Otherwise we can take up any study, but that may not be useful. So the studies which are of the significant importance for economy and productivity, high in volume, consistent and repetitive in nature, and the work is measurable, output is measurable in terms of the numbers or suitable other factors. Next is, here recording is simple. In a recording in work measurement is just note down all the steps of the procedure which will be used for production purpose. Okay, so record the different steps. Number one, record the machines or methods, the workers who will be doing, and the working conditions that can affect the time being taken by the worker. Anything that can affect the time being taken by a worker in a job has to be included in record, but this is more descriptive in nature. It is like bullet form or stepwise. What are the different things being done and the conditions of working that can affect the time required to do the job. Then here in examine in work measurement is completely different than what we have seen earlier. Here the job is broken down in a number of elements. So these elements are different from what we have seen earlier, like the operation, transport, inspection, delays, or what we have seen in thermalics, that this is also different from. Similarly, we have seen also certain a way of breaking the job in the two-hand process chart. So that breaking of the job was completely different than the way by which we break the job into the different elements in the work measurement, or you can say this is primarily used in the time study method of the work measurement. So the job is broken down. Okay, so this is the examine, and once the job is broken down, it is analyzed to see what is productive and what is non-productive. Okay, so productive and non-productive elements are identified, and how the jobs are broken. Let me tell you, broken, I'll tell you. The job is broken like the man element or machine element. Job is completely done by man or by machine, or it is constant element or variable element, like the job time required to do the job is changes with the area, with the volume, with the numbers to be produced, or it is fixed, just like switch on. So time is fixed, but to cut the length, to turn the job of different lengths will change the time significantly. Okay, so man or machine element, constant or variable element. Then there is a governing element, the job which takes maximum time. Then there is a foreign element. So there are different types of the elements in which this job is broken down to facilitate the quantification of the time for each element effectively. Okay, so this is what is done in examine. So in examine, break the job into the elements and then categorize under the productive and non-productive categories. Okay. Then we have the measure. So it is just like, let's quantify the time it will take. So quantify the time. So this time can be quantified using suitable techniques. There are work sampling, time study, PMTS, predetermined motion time study. This is also called PTS, predetermined time study. and then standard data method SD. So these are the four techniques that are normally exist. So we'll be talking about the 2 or 3 techniques. Let's see how it goes in of the work measurement. So work measurement, time study, and maybe standard data method or the PMTS. I'll give the introduction of the PMTS method. This is very extensive and big one. It is used for so here these are the 2 data based methods. So here database is used, actual studies are not conducted, and here actual studies are conducted. So here the work sampling, actual studies to be conducted in the shop floor, and a time study method also actual studies conducted in the shop floor. And in the PTS and standard data method, the data from the handbooks is taken to compile the time which will be taken to complete a job. So this is basically a database is used to quantify the time it will take. Okay, so that's it's here. This was the measure. So use the suitable technique to quantify the time a job will take. Now compile, as I said, compiling involves the measured time using the work measurement, using the work sampling or time study, plus the allowances. So that is what is compiled. Compilation means the time for the different elements is quantified and that is summed up plus added with the allowances. So like T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, like this, time for the different elements depending upon the nature plus allowances. So if you see, only the man elements are given, the time for the elements done by the man, allowances are considered. Time being taken by the machine elements, no allowances given. Okay, this is important. I will talk about this in later. So in compilation, what we do, the time for the different elements is quantified, then it is added with the allowances. Allowances are added only for the elements completed by the man, not for the machine elements. Okay, and finally the define. Just define the time allowed for doing a job by a given procedure, by a given method, by a given worker, by a given machine. So that is identified. हाँ बेटा, मैं लेक्चर में बाद में बात करूँगा. Okay. So this time is defined like the standard time is for what? So all the things that can affect the time has to be mentioned with the that defined also, as far as the standard time is concerned. So standard time is defined for certain type of a certain range of activities which are done using a specified procedure or method. Okay, so that's it from my side.